If you are a female business owner who wants to scale and grow your business, and you've heard or you believe, or maybe somebody's told you that you need to use ads, paid ads to do that, maybe it's true and maybe it's not. It depends upon who you are and your situation. It's not just a blanket statement that fits all people and all businesses. If you want to find out if it's true or not for you, you want to join Jess, Gleim, and I. We are doing a free webinar in my Courageous Growth series. Jess, if you want to go ahead and read through the chat while I make your introduction. So, welcome. This is a monthly webinar series that we do called Courageous Growth. And what I do as a coach and in my personal life is listen to what people are asking me questions about. And one of my main audiences is the female entrepreneur group and startups. And so there are a lot of questions about what do we do with digital marketing? Do we buy ads? And there are a lot of assumptions out there about what to do with ad buys. And when I first started to work with Jess, I noticed how much money was running through the systems that she was assisting with in some of the companies she was working with, and realized that she really knew what she was doing in order for these people to commit, not only to work with her and pay that fee, but they also had to have a budget to spend on ads and then to see what the return on investment was. And it was also very, very useful for me as I coached with Jess to understand the depth of her thinking. You literally are in the presence of someone that I have called a savant at times, because she has this uncanny ability to problem solve, to sniff things out, to intuit. And I haven't ever seen Jessica Gleim ever hit a problem that she didn't eventually crack the code on. And so I thought that I would just offer this to our network, her network, because when you are running your own business, one of the scary things is, how do you make the right choices about where you spend your money? Because sometimes you hear that mantra, I must spend in order to earn. You've got to spend to get more. So this is why I asked Jess to be here for this Courageous Growth webinar. And again, I think you understand why I've created the whole series. So there's one coming up and we'll talk about it at the end. But when people are asking me questions about my work and my life, and there's a congealing around one topic, that's when we find the expert and have them come in and talk. I'm going to be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, you have comments, go there. This will be very interactive. Jess is also going to answer questions at the end. And this will be recorded. So if you know people who need it, you can send it to them, and it'll also be posted out on our Courageous Growth webinar playlist on Soul Salt Coaching. That's our YouTube channel. Okay, so let's find out again. Go to chat. Tell us how you found out about this. Who told you about this webinar? And then I'm going to have Jess come on. So Jess, you've had a chance to look at some of the comments already.
Yes.
Yep.
My favorite thing to talk about.
Yeah, welcome. And again, looks like everybody's on mute. I'll go on mute. And the special sidekick that comes along with Jess Gleim is Howie. So if you haven't met Howie, you'll probably meet him. Here he is. Jess is so authentic. She shows up as a working mom out of her home with a child in hand. That is Jess Gleim. You're going to get the whole real deal. So
the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. So tell us again how you heard about the webinar. We want to know that. That's super helpful. And since this is something about digital marketing, please give us that input. That's really good for Jess and I to know.
Yes.
All right, Jess, your turn. I'm going to go on mute. Take it away. Are you ready?
Yes. Let's find out if I can do share screen. Okay, great. You guys, I just figured this out, that sharing the screen on my presentation in Canva, and everybody should be using Canva if you're not using Canva, my little pretty font didn't come through. So if you're like, that looks so weird, that's why. Okay, welcome. Thank you for coming to this. I'm so excited to see everybody's faces. Today we are talking about the magic of Facebook ads and social media ads, because they're basically kind of all the same. So whether I'm using the term Meta, I mean Instagram or TikTok or Pinterest, a social media platform where we're spending time on the internet regularly. And because of that, we can run ads to those the audience of people that are on these social media platforms. So I wanted to know if you are on social media, leave your handle because I'd love to follow you and keep getting to know you. And what social media platforms do you use? I love to use Instagram because I'm an elder millennial. I still love Facebook groups. And then, but I live for TikToks and I'm obsessed with studying content. And so I naturally love advertising in this manner. So I'm going to tell you today a story of my number one favorite client success story. And that's going to take us through the journey and the convoluted conversation that is advertising. But first, I thought I'd tell you a quick little bit about myself. So I call myself a revenue marketing strategist and ad expert. Like I mentioned, I'm obsessed. I love social media. I'm obsessed with studying content, and I'm obsessed with helping women figure out how to make more money in their business. And usually what that means is taking what they already do really well and making it better. And sometimes that includes ads, not all the time, but ads are a really incredible way to scale your business. So I ran my very first Facebook ad back in 2000 and here, I'll move my slide. There we go. I ran my very first Facebook ad back in 2010. It was in the beginning of the beginning times. And all you could do was pay for likes, like page likes. But it was revolutionary because you could pick an audience of people that were exactly what you wanted. And I was going for moms who lived in the US in a certain income bracket who liked Pottery Barn Kids. And you could buy somebody that was a like for just 10 cents. And it was like the beginning of how you built your paid online community. So another question I have for you is, have you ever run Facebook ads? I'm curious if anybody here has ever dabbled in it. And that can include boosting posts because you're still spending money on it. Lynn, you have. And we've done some super successful things. We've run, I've helped Lynn run different boosts before. We've run lead gen campaigns. So they can totally be a magical thing. By the way, this is my stuff. I'll also include it at the end. But I'm ready to let's get rocking and rolling on this beautiful story. So this is a success story of how Meta Ads, I helped scale a client by 3 times in just 18 months. And the bulk of it was all done in Facebook advertising. So what you're going to learn at the end of this is, are you ready for ads? And if they're potentially going to be worth it for you. So this is a brand called LitJoy Crate. If you don't know them and you like books, go follow them. It's a company founded in Utah County by 2 women that were in a book club, and one had a really good business mindset, and one started this book club that had thousands of people in it from Instagram. And they felt like they were their target audience and what they could offer people that loved books. So what they did is they organically built this incredible brand where they had a subscription box. They had specific products for various author fandoms. They have this amazing, come on, there we go, shop with all of these different types of special editions with these authors that have fandoms. And I'm not a book talk person. I'm a reality TV person. And sometimes there's crossover, like my friend Michelle here, who's on this webinar. But I love fandoms. And so I fell in love with the fact that people love these authors. So they built this whole business around this love of books. And the other thing is they built this fandom and audience around it's easy to sell and it's fun to sell because it's all about feelings. So they came to me when they knew they had a suspicion. They'd been trying to research ads for a year, and they had a suspicion if they ran social media ads, it would help them grow in the big ways that they wanted to. So they knew that because they had this incredible line of products. They'd had a warehouse, they had a team, they weren't huge, but they had built this audience organically, and a lot of things were working well. So they came to me to grow. And this is what we did. They knew that they could grow their business the way they wanted to if they could do two things. One, finding new customers who had never purchased with them before. And two, if they could get help selling the products that they'd launch after they'd launch. What would happen is they had a really robust email list, and that's a lot of where their audience was. And if they could, they would launch, say, this new Alice in Wonderland special edition, and they'd sell it, and they'd sell 70% of it within 3 days. But then they still had some leftover. And instead of just keeping that in their shop, they thought they could use ads to help them sell the rest of it. So this is what we did. Our strategy was based on finding new customers. And the way that we found new customers was by getting them new email leads. And the way we got them new email leads was by running ads to quizzes. These quizzes were super duper based on the fandom and love of what their audience loved. So if you know what ACOTAR means, you know what ACOTAR means. And if you don't, it's not for you. But they also, so whatever their things that they were trying to sell, they built a quiz that fit that fandom niche, and we ran ads to it to get new email leads, because they knew if they got an email subscriber to their list, they most likely could sell to them. We would get these leads for like less than 25 cents, sometimes just like 12 cents. So they knew if we ran ads for that, we could grow them. And then the other thing, like I mentioned, they would launch all these products, they'd sell it to that email list, and then they'd sell at least 50%, if not more, but they'd end up with extra stock. And if you have ever been in a product-based business, like, you got to keep it moving. You know, you don't want stale stuff on your shelves. So we would use ads after a 2-week period. They'd let it run for 2 weeks after they'd launch something. And then we'd come in and grab the stragglers and sell the rest of the product out. So that was our strategy for growth. When we would do this strategy for selling these, like, to the stragglers, sometimes we would get a ROAS, which is your return on your ad spend. So for every dollar they'd spend in ads, sometimes they'd get 4 times back. Sometimes they'd get 16 times back. We had some that were like 28 times back. So they'd make $28 for every dollar we spent to get somebody to buy something. It was nuts. Just in general, a 4 ROAS is really great. Like, if you hit that when you're trying to sell something in an ad, you're doing remarkably well. So it was like, you could see why this story like gives me all the feels, because it was so cool. Helping 2 moms who came up with this brilliant business idea, and then the people that work for them are all their friends in their book club, and we were just growing them like crazy. And if they could grow, they could keep, you know, doing what they love and hiring all these people that they, anyhow, it's like the most magical thing ever. So, with this, the strategy expanded off of this, but with this baseline strategy, this was kind of the blueprint to growing them, like I said, 3 times by 3 times in 18 months, which is very fast. Okay, so to take a breath, because I talk really fast and I know that this is kind of can be a convoluted conversation, I want to go through what is true with ads. So ads can be so magical. It's one of the reasons why I love them. I live life based on feelings. I love running ads because they're based on data. So I don't, you know, like it's an actual yes or no answer, but they can be the coolest thing ever. They can work instantaneously. Growing by 3 times in 18 months is very fast. It was exactly like on par. They handled it like champs. But it can be instantaneous. Ads can be an overnight thing. They turn on automatically. There's not a 3-week wait window. They can also be super affordable. So when I started running ads back in the day, when ads first started, it was like 2007 for Facebook. And the minimum ad spend is $5. And it still is. That's revolutionary, right? TikTok, the minimum ad spend is a little bit more expensive at $20 a day. But in general, if you're comparing advertising to other types of advertising, the barrier to entry with the money part of running social media ads is nothing compared to, like, you're not going to go put up a billboard, right? If you're a small business. So they can be totally affordable. We were running some of these campaigns, like those lead gen campaigns, for 15, 25 bucks a day. And then they are like, and I like to say this, so if you take one concept from today home, paid advertising can be like pouring gasoline on a fire. Paid ads will not build you a robust fire. They can blow it up into a big old bonfire, but they will not build you a fire. So what was in LitJoy's favor? They had this fire built already. So they knew, because they've been thinking about it, Facebook ads, social media ads are not, you want the concept to be like so linear, right? Like, and this is with all marketing and owning a business, right? Like we put effort in here and then we want it to do this and then we get this back. And that's just not how it is. It's like 7 steps forward, 2 steps back. So they knew that running social media ads is going to be a game and they were ready to play it. They were like mindset, like Lyn talks about and teaches us all about mindset. They had the right mindset for ads. They had the right mindset with their business. They were ready. They were also ready to win, which meant failing and failing fast and keep on trucking. They did not get emotionally. It was great. They were ready to win. They were ready to, in the mindset. Strategy. They had an idea. They brought on an expert and together we built this strategy and we optimized it together along the way. Ads do not work if you just leave them to somebody else to do. As the business owner, and in general, I think as the business owner in your marketing, you've got to learn and study and work on your strategy, even with the expert. And that's one of the reasons why this also works so well, because I will never understand your audience to the level that you do. So that's one of the reasons why this works so well, is because they knew their audience inside and out. They had the budget. So like I mentioned, the barrier to entry with ads is low financially, which is great. But generally speaking, though, $5,000 a month is still $5,000 a month. So that was about $166 a day, which is where we started. And we'd move up into the $25,000 a month. So when we started for $5,000 a month, they had budgeted that. They couldn't lose it, but their livelihood wasn't at stake. They weren't robbing Peter to pay Paul. I've seen people like try to put it on a credit card because they think it's going to make it happen. And I think that's risky behavior and it's not financially worth it. So they were ready. And then finally, ads are competitive, you guys, and they've gotten more competitive as time goes on because we spend all this time on the internet. So we're competing. This small brand is competing with Target, is competing with Skims, is competing with these brands and businesses that have millions and millions of dollars to invest in ads. So you also have to be on your game. Okay. You guys, this feature in Canva to move to the next slide is hard for me. Okay. So this is the foundation of digital ads. And again, this is the same whether we're talking TikTok, Meta, etc. This is why it worked so freaking well for them. When you run paid ads, you want to run them to your own website. If you are wanting to run ads to Etsy or Amazon to somebody else, a third party, there's kind of no point because you can't collect data on the other end. When you own your own website and you can install tracking, which is your pixel, onto your website, it starts monitoring what all these people are doing. And so LitJoy is 100% online brand, which is what is called DTC e-com, direct to consumer e-commerce. But if you are selling your own stuff or your own, like Soul Salt sells their own courses that they've created, right? Like you're selling your own stuff on your own website. And what happens is, and I'm sure that you've heard of this before, but you install whatever platform you're going to advertise with, you install your pixel. And I'm sure everybody's heard of that term pixel. It's a little bit more complicated now. It's a pixel API. And so tracking has become a little bit more not as efficient. It's a little bit harder, but what happens is LitJoy had all these people, like I said, buying from them, being on their website all the time. So if you can see, these are called events, and these are the things that the pixel is tracking: page views, content views, people searching, people adding to cart, people purchasing, okay? The Pixel API is tracking all of that. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter who the user is, but they're tracking all of it. And so because this company had built this really solid organic base of users before they ran ads, they had a ton of data. And that Pixel knew a ton about the types of users that were coming to their website. So it was very, very smart. Because when you run social media ads and it's collecting all this data, TikTok has a pixel, it does the same thing. Pinterest has a pixel, it does the same thing. It knows all this information about the people that come to your website, and it knows all this information about the people that are on their platforms to begin with. And so the first decision that you make when you run an ad is you select what is called the campaign objective. So remember when I was saying that one of the things we did with LitJoy, the first thing is we ran ads to get emails. So those are called leads. We ran lead generation ads. And then I told you about how we would run ads to people after they'd launch a product, and then we'd come in and like get all the stragglers to sell. Those were sales ads. We were asking the user to buy a specific product, okay? These are all the choices. Now, inside of each of these kind of like bucket categories, there are more choices to further tell it what to do. But the magic behind the ad is because there's so much data and it knows so much about us and everybody else on the internet, is that it can show you a product that it most likely thinks you're going to buy at that exact moment of when you're going to buy. It knows that I'm most likely to buy skincare or some neck posture thing that I won't stop getting off my TikTok ad because I'm probably going to buy it. It's probably going to happen at 9 p.m. on a Thursday. And I'm not going to do that at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday because I'm working. You know what I mean? So like it knows all this stuff. It's awesome. So this is because they had all this data. It knew all this information and could do a much better job when we selected the right campaign objective. Okay. One more thing to note. You are paying for the cost per result. So if I am trying to get leads, I am paying Meta per lead. Down here, when we're trying to sell, say, that our Alice in Wonderland book, I am paying per purchase that somebody made. The cost for these objectives at the top, these are just the same image, but at the top here are cheaper than at the bottom. So if you run traffic ads, which is literally just that, I'm running ads to get people to a blog post on Soul Salt's website, let's say. That's cheaper than if I was trying to run ads to sell a course at Soul Salt, because more people want sales ads. They're more competitive. There's more people wanting to run these types of ads. So that's one of the reasons why they're more expensive. Okay. Did I cover all my notes on this one? Let's Okay, and we're going to take a breath again because I'm a lot, it's a lot. So as we're thinking about all of this, one, something to keep in mind, we are at the very beginning of this kind of technology, you guys. TikTok ads have only been around for less than 2 years. TikTok Shop has only been around for like less than a year. I've bought more on TikTok Shop than I've ever bought in Instagram ads. We're at the very beginning. Why? I don't know, but I'm buying magnesium spray. My husband bought some like weed puller last night. I don't know why it's for us, but we're just at the very beginning of the forefront of this. So when I talk about being in the mindset and playing the game, like just keep that in mind. This is all so new and it continues to change and evolve really fast. Ads can be fast and magical when you're ready for them. So what this also means is, have you ever seen somebody's shop blow up on the internet and then it destroys them? They get so many orders and then they have no customer service procedures and it F's them because then all these people get mad. Like, yes, it can be beautiful when you scale and blow up, and it can also not be if you're not ready. So ads are awesome when you're ready for them. And when you dive into them, be ready to play the game and know your risk level. How much money you're willing to put into it, how much you understand on the strategy. They can pay off big time, but you've got to know your risk level. Things like understanding your data, right? Going back to understanding what's coming in on your pixel, understanding your margins, things like that. If you don't know any of those numbers, start working on that first, because get in the headspace where you are ready to scale. Okay. I'm going to go through two other examples of colleagues and friends of mine, because I need a real life example to keep understanding stuff. So these are two colleagues and friends of mine that I talk to about business all the time, because I love business girlfriend time all the time. And they both have their online businesses and they both want to run ads. And they both think that if I run social media ads, paid ads somewhere on one of the platforms, it'll blow me up and it'll solve my problems with needing new customers or more cash or whatever. Okay, so this is my friend Carly. Carly's business is called Family Tree Notebooks. It's quite brilliant. She is an expert basically in genealogy, and she created this system, and she has this insane fan base of people that follow her system of building family notebooks. So she told me, because we've talked about wanting to run ads together for a long time, her dream would be to grow her email list. Because similar to LitJoy, if she gets people on her email list and then says, hey, I've got this new masterclass, everybody signs up. I've got this new ebook, everybody goes and buys it. So she's like, well, I think my strategy is leads. So one, it's an ad objective. We can totally do that. She wants to run email, get emails, and we totally can, because it's an ad objective. And she's got a pixel that's been tracking all this data on all these people for a long time. So it knows. And my guesstimate would probably be that she would pay for leads a cost per result between $1.50 and $6. So just keep that in mind. And I know that if everybody ever has any questions and is like, hey, what do I think I am spending on traffic or whatever, ask me, because I probably have an idea. And then she already has a lead magnet that's very successful. I think you get 3 or 5 free pages. And that automation has an 88% open rate, and the click-through rate is 72%. So the likelihood of somebody coming in at $1.50 or $6 and signing up for one of these free pages and then moving through her funnel is pretty high. Her website already gets, on average, organically, 10K monthly users. Her store rate on organically already is 1.5. Her returning customer rate is already over 50%. So she already has a lot of really good data. Like, she knows these numbers. She doesn't understand how they all come together, but she knows these numbers. And her average order value, meaning the amount of what people buy, how much they spend every time they purchase from her, is over $26. So should Carly run ads? Well, worst case scenario, my guesstimate is she'd pay $6 to get somebody to buy and spend $26. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'd run ads. Would I know the exact answer? No. But I would bet on this. All this information to me says yes. If she spent $1,000 a month, I'd feel pretty comfortable that she'd make that return at least 2 or 3 times. Okay. This is my other really brilliant, smart friend and colleague, Calvina. Calvina is a visual brand strategist, and she has this great program called Brand in a Week that I took. And that's how I came up with my new refresh brand in this last year. And she has courses and lead magnets, and she's really great at making content. And she sells this successful course that she's currently in launch of, and she wants to scale it. So she asked me, she thinks that she would love to grow her social media or grow her email. Well, one, there is not a grow your social media ad objective. There's not a button that you can click that says, I want to run ads that grows my Instagram. There are options to like show people videos like reels and boost those types of things, or send people to a post or send people to your profile. But there's not an option to make them follow you. So because of that, I'm like, nope, cross that off. I don't think it doesn't feel like a good investment to me, because there's not a guarantee in the sense of like, we're not asking them to do the right thing right then. However, we could do leads, growing your email. But two things. She does not have enough organic website traffic to begin with, and not enough data to secure quality leads, because she hasn't had her pixel on her website for very long, and she doesn't have a ton of organic traffic. She does a lot of her, and again, this program's only been around for a little bit. Carly's been around for like 6 years, right? So like longevity is there. So there's some things there that she's like missing. She's got stuff that's working, but she doesn't have as much data that I would feel comfortable with knowing what to do. So my opinion, and I've talked about this, I wouldn't run ads right now. I wouldn't invest in paid ads right now for your brand spark, for her business. What I would do is instead focus your time, your money, and your energy in how you can get more organic top of funnel traffic to your website and convert them into your sales and email sequences. Like, I'd spend the next year only focused on that, and then come back in 2025 and reassess this. Oh, speaking of, Calvina just walked into the room. Meant to be.
Should we pause her for a minute so she can
Sure.
catch her breath and see herself on the screen?
Calvina, I'm laughing because I just went through your brand spark with everybody to see if my opinion, if you should run paid ads or not. And I told everybody I wouldn't. I keep spending, she knows this, doing what she's doing, which is working on her organic traffic and keep converting to her brand in a week course, which is exactly what's happening for her.
Welcome, Calvina.
Okay, you guys. So to answer the question of what this whole presentation should be, and most people come to me because they want to know this answer, are paid ads worth it? Yes. Is it a little bit more complicated than that? Yes. They can be. It's a little, you can see it's a lot of information. They can be worth it if you own your own website and you have your Pixel API. I don't know why I have an L there. Your Pixel API installed. They can change your life if you have enough organic data to feed that algorithm machine. They can blow up your business if you have a working customer funnel. Again, LitJoy Crate, they knew if they got emails, they could sell to that list. Very similar with my friend Carly with Family Tree Notebooks. She knows if she gets people to her email list, she can sell to that list. That is their working customer funnel. Everyone's funnel is a little bit different, but those are two examples of that. You have some money to bet with, because ads, they're affordable, yes, but they are expensive. Like I mentioned, LitJoy went into this. $166 a day doesn't sound too much money, but it is times 30 is $5,000. And I know small businesses, $5,000 is $5,000, you guys. So if you're going to spend $5,000, you kind of want them to work. So you also need to be in a place where you've got that money. Even if you're spending $600 a month, you've got that money to bet on yourself. A couple other things. You do the ads. You create the creative. Like I mentioned, one of the reasons why ads have worked so well for LitJoy Crate, and ads continue to work so well for all of my private clients that I run and manage their ad strategy, is because together we work on the strategy, not just me, because they know their audience better than anyone. And secondly, the most important part of building ads and converting users in the creative is the visual. It's what stops the scroll. That's why in those quizzes we did for LitJoy Crate that said, what avatar character are you? Hell's bells. You know exactly who that's for. If you're scrolling and it hits you, you're like, that's my jam, right? So the creative, that visual creative is the most important part of your ad, more than your copy, more than anything else. That's where you're going to be competing with Target. You need to stop people from scrolling, and that has to happen in the creative, and that ultimately has to come from you. My clients, we talk about creative, but they ultimately produce it because they know their audience better than anybody. And then even better, ads work really well, again, if you have a really solid organic foundation already on that platform. Meaning, don't run TikTok ads if you don't have TikTok. Don't try to run Instagram ads if you are not using Instagram. Something else that's really great with advertising is if you have a high lifetime value, meaning your customer spends money with you consistently over and over and over again. That's just kind of nice in business in general. And I also, in any customer funnel, have lots of offers and products and things. It's easier to sell ads when you have multiple things. Ads don't work if you only have one product. Okay. You guys, me using this presentation. Oh man. Let's see. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, sometimes it won't forward.
It doesn't, it didn't go onto my last slide.
Yeah, so bring it back up and you just bring it right onto that
Hang on,
slide.
I was going to show you guys. Let's find it here. Jessica has 700 tabs open at any given time.
You'll get it. And then I have a couple of questions that have come in.
Amazing.
And Denise has one as well. So
okay, fabulous.
Yeah.
You guys, here we go. Okay, so to wrap this up, and then we're going to go to our questions. So now what? I believe that you're going to be in one of three mindsets. One, what the F did we just talk about? So if you're like, oh my God, that was too much. I'm still curious though. Take a picture of this QR code with your phone and it'll pull up a blog post that I've written for you. That's a kind of a review of the 6 things that you need to make ads work. Secondly, if you're like, oh, I think I could be onto something here. This might be something that would work for me. Remember when I talked about kind of how the data is at the forefront of the ads? If you're getting those events, if you're getting enough traffic, if you have the right enough of an average order value, I have made you a free digital data audit. Again, if you hold your phone up to this QR code, it'll pop up this blog post and sign up for that. And data with your business, if you want to grow, you have to understand the basis of your website customer data and just start tracking it and paying attention to it, because those numbers are going to reveal what the next things you need to do are. So I've made a data audit. And then third, if anyone's like, oh yeah, this is for me, I'm ready to grow, I've got this, I need an expert that I can partner with, holler, send me an email. I'm on the internet everywhere at Jess Gleim. Okay. And if you didn't catch any of these, Lyn will send a email with the video recording of this that you can rewatch, and then I'll send those links in that email too. Okay, let's
we have you covered. So I want to ask a couple of questions really quick because I think they're fast, and then you can go deep with our guests. How do we know if we have the right mindset to buy ads? Do you have any indicators?
You're ready to, this is my new word for 2024. You're ready to feel sturdy.
Sturdy, okay.
It can scare you. Spending $1,000 can totally feel scare you. It can feel a little scary, but that's why I'm so transparent too. Because I also feel like people have a lot of agency trauma. Oh my God, I've heard so much of it, and they get screwed. They pay like a $5,000 onboarding fee, and I get it. I've run an agency, but spending money can feel scary. But that's why I'm like, learn from me, email me. I'll help you, teach you, whatever. and know the right information going into it and feel like you've got your sea legs down. You're ready. You're not just like going on emotion of feeling like you have FOMO that you need to run ads right this second or you're going to like miss out, you know? I'll always tell you the truth. You're ready when you are sturdy.
Okay, nice one. Next one. Do you also, because I know you've done this with me, do you also help people test to figure out if they're creative? You know, you said they know their audience and they have to figure out their creative and their look. But you've done it with us. We were doing it yesterday with some of the pictures for my new website.
Yep.
Figure out the design and help them test that. So you can do that.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Let's go to Denise. She has a couple of things there in the chat.
Let me pause one thing real fast.
Yeah.
If something works for you organically, probably will work really well on ads.
Okay. Like, I'll give an example for those of you so you can understand. So we're trying to decide which pictures of me from a photo shoot to pick. And we've taken a couple of sources. We put some on Instagram and Facebook and had people comment which ones they like the most. And also a dating app that I'm on and which ones get the comments. So we used some of that research to go, okay, then these three. So and Jessica was like, yeah, that's enough organic information. So that's what she means by organic. Most of you probably know that, but sometimes it's nice to have an example. All right, Denise, what do you have going on here?
Okay, Denise says, with a limited budget, would you recommend focusing on one platform rather than splitting the budget between multiple platforms? Yes. I often have clients come to me and say, hey, I want to advertise on Instagram and TikTok. And I'm like, cool. Some questions for you. One, do you run organic? Do you have a strong organic platform there already? One of my clients this year, when I onboarded them, they did on Instagram, they did not on TikTok. Okay, great. Well, we're not going to run on TikTok. And then my next question was, where is your target audience spending their time? Instagram. So one, yes, start with one. You start with one, nail the strategy. Move on to another one. I wouldn't move on to another one until you've already figured out the strategy that you're consistently making money and it's rocking and rolling. One, you really will need to spend, especially if you're selling products over like you're in e-commerce, you need to spend at least $100 a day per sales campaign at a minimum. And that is several $1,000s a month. So if your budget is say $5,000, I wouldn't try to split that up between two platforms because it's not enough money to really get competitive. The second thing is, again, you need to have a strong organic presence already on the platform that you want to advertise on. So if you really want to get into TikTok ads, you need to be on TikTok and you need to build your organic TikTok strategy first and foremost. People do it other ways, yes, but those people are spending a SHIT load of money. You can build a business and get in without these foundational things, but we're talking $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 a month in advertising. And generally the women that in business that I'm talking to are spending less than $20,000 a month. So that's why I think it's important having a strong organic foundation. You also really need to understand the customer and how they engage and interact with content in this exact moment in time on that platform, because your creative needs to match that as well. Okay, then Denise also asked, is there a specific amount of content or assets variations you'd recommend testing per ad? Generally, somewhere between 3 to 5, no more than 5 at a time. But I would say a minimum of 3. So an example, meaning you sell, Carly with Family Trio Notebook sells a masterclass. And if she was pushing sales for that, I would run 3 to 5 ads to one audience with 3 to 5 variations. So it could be a carousel ad. It could be 3 videos with 3 different hooks and 1 graphic. And I'd see how those all play out. So Calvina said, so basically we're going to start organically and take the best piece and add fire to it. Yes. Okay, I'm going to answer some more questions. Maggie said, I've tried using ads or boosting, promoting events, but it seems to seem too complicated and unclear how to do. You're not alone. It is. Let me tell you why, by the way, real fast. It's because like Meta hires these developers and then they make stuff and then they go on to another job and then somebody else gets hired, or they have mass layoffs and then they bring people back. And it's like, I have found, if you've ever tried to like set up a business manager, it's like layers upon layers of like weird logins and like systems, and the way you used to do something changed. Like, it's super complicated. Again, if you have questions ever, please message me. I'll tell you the answer. I've done it all. And it's unclear how to do. And I get annoyed at ads and promoted posts. So I never subscribe to any promotion, but it seems I may be missing out on my possibility. Well, here's the deal, Maggie. It also depends on like where your audience is. And are you your audience, or is your audience, do they engage in this way? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the way that like I use social media organically versus my user or some of my clients' customer is a little bit different. Like, I have clients that they personally don't use Instagram. The company does, the brand does, that is their business, and their customer does, but they don't. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I think it's really important to have that's where everything goes back to that. You know your customer, and you know how they buy, and you know how they use that social media platform, and you know the content they're engaging with, right? You like, I have a client that sells Disney licensed baby products. They don't even make their own content. They work with content creators who have followings that already they know how to make content that speaks to the Disney mom that's traveling and planning and wants to have matching shirts and, you know, their stroller with the Disney stuff on it, right? Like, they know that audience. So I think that's a big, I don't think you're missing out, and it's okay. You don't have to like it or do it yourself necessarily, but if your audience is on there, you know, that's something to think about. And maybe they're not. That's the other thing. Like, if all your traffic comes from your Facebook group or something else, like, you don't have to run social media ads. That's okay. They just can be a tool that can blow you up. There are other things too that can blow you up. Okay. Calvina said, there is content strategy and sales strategy. Do you think that it would be best to have a sales strategy in place to have the best ad results? Hell yes. Going back to one of the things, the key pillars of when ads work well is when you understand your customer journey and you understand already how you sell. So like, again, let's go back to LitJoy. Ignore this child. If you haven't done this, run a customer survey. They ran a customer survey. They got deep insight on their audience. One of the things they learned that their audience loves is when they make special edition books with sprayed edges, the author's annotation, that's what it was. They would leave these annotated notes in the edge. So that's all we focused on in the advertising. They knew that that little element would sell the shit out of that book. And they also knew that if they could get users onto their email list and warm them up, right? Like, they could sell to them. So they knew how it was going to sell visually. They knew how it was going to sell in the back end, like this funnel. So yes, you got to figure out your organic sales strategy and marketing first and foremost before you touch ads. And the way that you know if you've done that is through my data audit, which I'll send in the follow-up link. That will give you your data, is what will give you the information that you need to know about your business if you're ready to run ads, if you have a working customer funnel, if you have a sales strategy in place. And that's going to be stuff like your conversion rate, your traffic, your top channel source, various things like that. Okay, another one. Calvina says, it sounds like organic content creation is key. 1,000,000%. Most people feel the sense of hesitation with organic content creation because it's so much work, because it is. Is there a way around this to utilize ads without doing content creation? Yeah, have other people do it. Again, the client that sells the Disney stuff, they don't make their own content. They pay organic, they pay, I'm going to use the term influencers because they technically are, but like, if you're on the internet, if you use Instagram and if you use TikTok, you're going to get Disney people in your FYP, and they work with those people. There are moms who so this company of mine, the client of mine sells this like travel stuff, gate check bags, stroller covers. They work with family influencers that teach you how to travel around the world with your kids, right? So those people already know how to make content and they've got the audience, UGC, content creation. So they pay them, they partner with those people and pay them, they make their content and that's what we use. They use that in their organic social media and that's what we use in paid ads. So there is a way around it and there's an authentic way around it. UGC, baby. Okay, let's see. Does anybody else have any other questions?
There was the point by Calvino, which I don't know that you've read.
Oh, tell me.
So basically start organically and take the best piece and add fire to it. I like that, Calvino.
Yes.
I think that's worth noting. And how would you say add fire to it?
Money, ads, the ad strategy.
There we go. Okay.
Because it's the only way you can, unless you go viral, everything else you're going to do is kind of slow and steady. And even going viral, Calvina's gone viral. I've been with her through that process. It's still, it can do something, but it can like, it doesn't mean you got to go viral all the time if you're going to move fast. And again, ads are fast. You put money on it and that sucker blows up. And your only other opportunity to do that would be putting money behind advertising. Yeah, Calvina says going viral means nothing unless you're perfectly positioned, and she is correct. And same thing with ads. You've got to be perfectly positioned. Okay, Michelle, what marketing elements should you have in place before ads? Your website. Your website needs to also have your API, your Pixel API. That's your tracking for Meta. If you think you want to run ads on Meta or TikTok or Pinterest or Snapchat, whatever, open an account and connect the Pixel API from that platform on your website. You don't have to do anything with it, but it'll start tracking. So if in a year from now, you want to run Pinterest ads, it's got all this data. Okay, secondly, please have email marketing in place. Even if you're going to only get 10 subscribers, start there. And the reason for that is, if you're going to pay for ads, pay for traffic, pay for sales, pay for leads, I want you to get something back that is yours and you own. Technically, the only piece of all this organic marketing that you own is your website and your email subscribers. You do not own your Instagram following. You do not own your TikTok following. If you have a big audience on TikTok and you do so much of your organic selling on TikTok and TikTok gets banned, you're SOL. I don't want you to do that. You do need social media. We have to have it. It's some of them, we've got to do it, but it's not, it cannot be your only lifeblood forever. If it can grow you in a big way, but spending money on ads in whatever form or fashion, I want you to be able to retain some of that data that you're buying, even if you're not selling with it, like the leads. And if you get their leads, you at least own them. So if somebody signed up for your lead magnet and you paid an ad for that and you paid $6 to get that lead, maybe they don't buy from you today, but they buy from you in a year and a half, right? Like, well, we could still make money off of them. And the only reason we can do that is because we get to keep their leads. So we want you to have things in place where you get to keep that information. Email marketing, everybody needs to be doing it. And minimum, your website. I do also think Michelle also included SEO. I think SEO is fantastic to already have in place because then that means you're getting lots of traffic. And I want you to get lots of traffic ahead of time before you run ads as well. Wow. You guys,
yeah,
thank you for listening to me. I love talking about this. So I appreciate you giving me an audience. Okay, Calvina said, do you have a workbook that walks us through all the key pieces, pixels, what you need in place for basic SEO? I'll buy it. Okay, let me take a screenshot of that. Now I do, at the end of this, I'll go back to this, and we'll put this in our email.
Yes, how we can follow up, because there are 3 kind of indicators.
Yes, I'm going to share this one more time.
From Jess.
Share screen. Okay. 1, hold your phone over this QR code and you can get this blog post. This is the beginning of what Calvina just requested from me. 6 things you need to make ads work. It's a little bit over like an overview, but if people are interested in like the next place after that, oh my gosh, I'd make that in a heartbeat. Again, if you're ever running ads, you're trying to do ads and you're stuck in any of the process of like setting these things up, holler. Then again, this is my free digital data audit. If you have enough data, if you've been doing some things, if you've got some traffic, if you've got some emails, you're selling some stuff, you're kind of making some money, go through my audit and see if you've got these key data points, and that'll help guide you on the next step that you need to take, whether it is somewhere in organic marketing or ads.
Yeah, we'll send the links, Denise, in the email that follows up with this recording.
Yes. Of course. Okay.
And then finally, if they're ready to go and work with you, yeah.
And if you want to keep learning too, I talk about all this crazy stuff all the time on my social media. And I'm also super goofy. So if you want some entertainment or to feel better about yourself, come follow me. Okay.
Wow. Yes. So this has been fantastic, Jessica. And I can see that there's so much knowledge. And if you have questions, you've made it, you're so approachable. Let me just give you a sneak peek as to what we will be talking about next month on the Courageous Growth. We're going to be bringing in Angie Nelson of Moxie Movement.
Oh.
Angie is a former competitive pole dancer, gymnast, and dancer. And the invitation is to get your sexy back, but not necessarily where your mind first goes. She's asking you to get intuitive, creative, and get in your own flow of playfulness to find out how that relates to you being inside your own body first. And so I can't think of anybody better than Angie. That's where we're going next month. And some of you will definitely want to join us for that. So Jess, thank you. This is superb content. Thank you for this audience. I think you've been so respectful, so insightful, very intelligent questions. I hope everybody has a great rest of their day.
Thank you, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Howie, say bye.
Bye, Howie.